Blessings, greetings, brothers and sisters. It's me, Lori Ann Spagna, to take a few moments today to share with you about the upcoming August 8th Lionsgate portal. So as we know, every year the Lionsgate portal takes place on the date of August 8th. And this is because this particular date of the year is recognized by Starseeds and Lightworkers and members of the Indigo family tribe as a key portal date when energies, frequencies, and vibrations, as well as consciousness from the higher realms and the non-physical would pour into the earth from higher dimensional realms or pure states of dimensional existence to support humanity in the evolutionary journey that's going on at this time. Lionsgate is named Lionsgate because it happens during the Leo astrological timeline in the chart in the astrological charts when it is Leo, known as Leo, which is the month of August. Nonetheless, this is an important date and portal window when many star family races, and in particular Sirians, Lyrans, and other benevolent beings of light, Palladian star families, Arcturians, come forward to support us in a very engaged way. So they come forward literally in droves to engage with us in a conscious way as we prepare humanity for this journey of awakening where we will be more and more interacting on a very real physical level with star family races. And this particular date is designed in part to assist us in getting to know our star family races without fear, in ways that they can engage with us so we can start to get to know them without having fear of them when we do start ultimately interacting in more physical ways, real physical contact ways. So this portal serves in that way as a very specific portal for that purpose. And of course, in addition, as all portals do, it amplifies and intensifies the higher pure frequencies that are coming in to support humanity in aligning more and more with the divine feminine energies that we have been so fractaled from and separated from. And those divine feminine energies, as they anchor more and more into the earth, we as a species awaken to the more of the truth of who we are, including that part of us that really no longer wants any form of those experiences that we associated with overly masculinated, out of balance society that is harming itself and one another. And as we align and embody more of that feminine energy that gets really poured in through these dimensional planes on these portal dates, we become more peaceful within ourselves. We live in an experience where we are more fulfilled from within, where we have more enjoyment within. We have less of the old paradigm kinds of ways of patterns and programs. So we are less critical. We are less attacking of self and one another. We are less confrontational. We are less condescending. We are less arrogant. We are less competitive. We are less argumentative. We become much more compatible, loving, kind, accepting, and allowing of all that is, ultimately. We recognize that those frequencies are just so much more enjoyable for us, and they are more of what we want in our lives and in the world. And of course, needless to say, that as we consciously engage with these energies, these softer feminine energies, as we allow ourselves to become and embody them more, we have more and more experiences that are more to our liking, because our experience reflects, as all things do, as it does, our experience reflects the energy of what we are embodying. And the people that we attract around us become more resonant with more of that kind of experience. In other words, more of that feminine, harmonious type of energy. We become more harmonious with ourselves. We become more harmonious with others. We become more harmonious with the earth. We become more harmonious with our bodies. We become more harmonious with all of existence. And then that reflects back on us, because everything is reflection of self and source. So this portal, needless to say, as is the case with all portals, is very significant for these reasons. And because we have these rare opportunities to consciously engage with our star family brothers and sisters in a conscious way, and to get guidance, wisdom, and information and energy through this portal connection, that really helps us in navigating our world, combined with these intense, beautiful waves of pure frequency love and divine feminine energy to support us in the navigation and having really just a more benevolent, better experience overall. Now, it's up to us, as always, to engage with these energies and to deliberately, to choose to consciously and deliberately involve ourselves on these portal days. Of course, we always, in my community, in our community, we also always use them for DNA activations. And that's because, number one, a lot of the star family races in particular, but not just star family races, angelics, angels, animal kingdom, Mother Gaia, Sophia, so many beings. In recent years, I've had a lot more Telosians, the beings who live on the inner earth under Telos, in the city of Telos under, Mount Shasta. So many beings want to interact with us, and they also want to share their frequencies of love and their frequencies of light and their consciousness and codes that are in their DNA. They want to share that with us, so they take advantage of these particular portal days, the Lionsgate being the next upcoming one, to really help us, because that's what helps us to ascend. And then when things that are happening on the global stage are happening, we don't get caught up in the crossfire of them. Why? Because so many of these codes with the DNA activations or with the healing transmissions that we get on these portal dates help us to relieve trauma and old dormant aspects of ourselves that are still or that have been still operating in this denser, more masculinized energy that is just tripping us up in our reality, especially if it's fear-based, of course. So when things start happening in the physical world, in the external reality, and we have more of this DNA activated or more of these pure frequencies, we don't get caught up in the crossfire. And then we are able to better serve and support our loved ones and the whole of humanity. So for example, right now, obviously, we can see the current ascension for the collective is really requiring people to take a look at the world financial situation, including, gas prices, prices of homes, prices of food, just versus, the quality of life. So humans are being really asked to explore the quality of life and to find happiness and joy without materialism. That's one of the core questions. And also to recognize, the tomfoolery, I'll use that language. I hope that's okay, right? The foolery that's been going on by a system that has been entirely controlled by, rich global elite bankers, private bankers who are basically regulating the monetary system. And this is happening globally, right? And it's not to get lost in that. It's designed to help us become conscious of it so we can consciously make new choices and not get lost in the fear of it, and to recognize it is a temporary state designed to assist humanity to make new changes and choices that will be more beneficial for the whole. But you see, without something like a portal working on these days to get the channeling, the guidance, the activations, the clearings, I would not know that. We would not necessarily have that information coming through in this moment, so that could be helpful to us at this time to navigate. So we use these portals as days to get guidance, wisdom, DNA activations, healing, to resolve trauma, so that we can navigate these challenging times without getting caught in the crossfire. That's an example of what I mean. So if what's going on in your life, whatever it is, whether it's related to the current state of affairs globally, or whether it's much more personal to you, perhaps you have a relationship that has been either, ripping you apart or just really challenging you. It could be a familial relationship, a parent-child or a spousal relationship, or it could be a professional relationship where you're being really pulled maybe or challenged in some way, or it could be the relationship to money or the economy, or it could be a relationship to the world governments that you're frustrated with the situation, or it could be a relationship to your own home, whether to keep it or whether to let go of it, or perhaps where to live. Many lightworkers right now are going through experiences of not knowing where to live. So you see, we're all being challenged in different ways. It could be a relationship to your car. These are all the kinds of things that get alleviated during a Lionsgate portal if one is working with the energies of consciousness, if one is ensuring that they are receiving the kind of energies that align themselves with their most benevolent best, rather than put them at odds with their state of reality. So if you're being challenged in some area, it means you're kind of at odds with something in your reality that you're having a relationship to. Again, person, place, thing, or experience. And if you're being challenged in some way because you're at odds, right? You're not in harmony. That means there is something for you to receive from the higher realms to assist you in aligning more purposefully, more harmoniously with your reality and whatever you are in relationship to in your reality, so that you can have a more harmonious and aligned experience that is more aligned with your most benevolent, best trajectory. So I hope this is making sense. This is what we do on these Lionsgate portals. This is one of those days. So, needless to say, and I want to talk a little bit about trauma in a moment, but this is the kind of thing we do on the Lionsgate portal. We activate the DNA, we get transmissions, we get guidance, we get downloads, we get clearings, and we do it in a way that's serving us with regard to the collective experience on Earth, so we can be more effective at navigating our trajectory with more ease, grace, and benevolence, and so that we are less challenged by what is going on and living in more harmony with our world, our reality, which is a requirement for ascension. So needless to say, of course, of the upcoming Stargate portal on the Lionsgate, Stargate, it's a Stargate portal, but it's Lionsgate, right, on August 8th. And I would, of course, love for you to join us. You can do so by going over to LoriSpagna.com. Under the Live Events tab, you will see the link for the Speed Activations, DNA, Sacred Key Code, and Star Code Marking Activations webinar that is coming up on August 8th. That's Monday, August 8th. live at 5 p.m. Eastern. Typically, these calls do last for quite a while because not only do we get a ton of codes, sacred key codes, star code markings, and transmissions, but we also get a ton of channeled information from the various beings I've been mentioning. And of course, the second part of it is the healing meditation, where we do that and we do the DNA activations, which is the most important part in my summary of the whole evening, really. We finish off, and of course we include all the key activations. I just want to say I was recently exposed to 2 different people with 2 different strands of COVID, and I would like to reaffirm that I walked away from that with a slight barely cold that was gone in less than 2 days. The immunity and impervious codes work, and the people who participated in my group event where there was some of this going on, we did a healing and everyone woke up the next day fully, wholly, and completely recovered and restored to their divine state of perfection. Made me very happy to see how effective this DNA work really is. And I say this with the most brilliant smile on my face. It is joyful to me to know how strong we are in our physical forms with these DNA activations, and how we are able to really be the strength of our physical forms, and really be just recovering so quickly from whatever it is in the external world that has been labeled as, virus or similar. So that's the kind of thing we do on these activations. So I would love for you to join us again. It's at LoriSpagna.com. Under the live events tab, you'll see speed activations, DNA, sacred key code, and star code marking activations. August 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Hawaii time. And of course, you'll get the recording as always, so you don't have to be there live. The energy is coming from the higher realms, which are beyond time and space. So they're not limited to time or space. They're just as effective in replay. So I want to say a thing about trauma as well. So right now, there are 2 planets, major planets, in retrograde, one of which is Saturn and the other of which is Pluto. And as I speak this week, the third, Jupiter, is going into retrograde. And these 3 retrograde planets will certainly be affecting us for the balance of this year. And when Pluto is in retrograde and Saturn is in retrograde, they are bringing up old traumas. And these are the planets that have to do with karma and really shadow aspects. And in retrograde, they are bringing up our traumas. And the Jupiter adding to that mix is going to require us to become very conscious about these old traumas. And if you're not noticing it already, chances are you will. If you don't notice it, chances are you're not digging deep enough. And you may not be doing your inner work. That's very common. People can very easily still get away to some degree or another with spiritual bypassing, or carpet sweeping, as I often call it. But it's getting harder and harder to do that. So the balance of this year, because these planets will be in retrograde until the end of October, really, which is, for the most part, the balance of the year, is going to be about clearing out a lot of this trauma. And the thing I can say is that the portal on the Lionsgate is going to amplify this for people in a big way, because that's what the Lionsgate does. So the purpose is to help alleviate trauma, and the Lionsgate, of course, which is connected to the Syrian Stargate portal, will help alleviate trauma in a very significant way for those who are willing And when we say alleviate and or transmute the trauma, what we're saying is you don't have to go through it. It's time for it to be lifted, removed, and dissolved so that we don't have to endure it any longer. And when we do that, of course, the natural byproduct is that our experience just dramatically and significantly improves. Whether it's a trauma that's held, in our unconscious, or again, if whatever the relationship is, if it's a relationship to money, if it's a relationship to our bodies, our physical health, emotional health, whether it's a relationship with another person, whether it's a relationship to our career, our mission, our purpose, our worthiness, it does not matter. We, as a human species, the human species is carrying a massive amount of trauma that needs to be resolved. These portal dates are designed to help us resolve it without having to endure it or suffer from it any longer. And so this is why I really want to emphasize this, because the balance of this year, it will become impossible not to know your trauma. If you are a conscious person who is not carpet sweeping or doing only love and light or, spiritual bypassing. Again, spiritual bypassing will become more and more challenging for people in the months ahead, but it becomes more and more evident to people if they've been doing that, because typically what they say is that they've been working on something for so long and they still can't seem to resolve it. So, or maybe they haven't worked on it and they weren't aware. That's possible too, of course. Or maybe they thought they worked on it and resolved it a long time ago, and maybe they did up to a certain point, but it becomes obvious that it's not fully resolved. So this is the way traumas show up, right? There's not a person on earth who doesn't or hasn't had some kind of trauma that is going to be somehow brought up to the surface for them to resolve and address. And likely you are already beginning to notice it, because these two planets have been, the first two planets, Saturn and Pluto, have already been in full force retrograde for at least a month or so now already. So again, the portal coming up on the Lionsgate is an excellent time to be letting that energy in the unconscious, and that is stored up in the morphogenetic field, which is the ever-evolving energy field of you, whoever you are, in, through, and around you, letting that trauma be lifted, removed, and dissolved. It is time for humanity to be releasing and transmuting our trauma. And it is no longer time for us to be thinking that the all positives is going to do it. We're starting to realize that alone just does not do it. So to me, these Stargate portals, all the various portals are excellent opportunities to literally let that stuff be taken from you and washed away from you, because you no longer need it. But this is where free will is required. Your free will must actively participate. And, for people who can't go away for an intensive retreat for a week long, either they feel financially or otherwise unable to do that, the portal window dates are the most important dates to get the maximum clearing and resolution possible. And in my group, of course, we combine it, as I mentioned, with the DNA activations, the other transmissions from the non-physical beings that we work with, and, of course, whatever channeling guidance that comes through to help us navigate with clarity. So again, that's on August 8th that we'll be doing that. And once again, you head over to LoriSpagna.com. Under the live events tab, just look for speed activations and register there. Right now, as always, the early bird rate is in effect. So you can get the early bird rate of $111 and save $333 off the true value rate on the day of the event. The rate will increase, and I will not, no exceptions, change that rate, because I have learned over time that that is a healthy boundary to ask people to engage sooner to help alleviate last-minute administrative work for my team. So please register now. Don't wait. It is so amazingly profound and effective. One last thing I want to say about the Lionsgate and all the various beings that we work with, whether they are star family races, animal kingdom members who want to share consciousness and energy, angels and angel gods and archangels who also want to provide support, assistance, guidance, and healing, whether it's ascended masters and or divine goddesses. These beings love us. They love us so much. They love us unconditionally. They are here for us, and they have so much to offer. Sometimes it's even Mother Gaia, Sophia, or members of, the nature kingdoms. It could be granite people or rock people who come through. It could be, I have certainly so much from the consciousness of Shasta. In the past, we've also spoken to the consciousness of the virus. We've spoken to the consciousness of COVID. We've spoken to celebrities such as Betty White, who have crossed over and offer healing and guidance and awareness. So, I will be knowing more and more. I'm bringing that together. I certainly have a lot from Shasta after having been here for the last 3 weeks. But these beings are offering us so much, and their only caveat is that we have to choose it, because they will never go against the law of free will, consent, and authority. So we have to choose it and be willing. And in order for us to receive this, it's up to us. And of course, as we do, by anchoring in this light and by making these shifts and changes internally, we're making the changes ahead for humanity flow with a lot more ease and grace. And there are big changes ahead for humanity, big changes for us to really be freed and liberated and have the utopia on earth that we're meant to have. And we don't have to wait, but the collective has big changes. So let's do our best as lightworkers and members of the Indigo family tribe to really assist by anchoring in as much light as we can, by clearing our own traumas and alleviating the burden as best as we can, so that this changes ahead will be more graceful and benevolent and easy and effortless for everyone. So this is part of how I know I'm stepping up to the plate to assist and to serve. And this is one of the offerings that I make available in a very intense format for the maximum benefits at the lowest financial rate I can possibly offer for such a huge event. As I said, it's oftentimes 3 to 4 hours, but you can listen in replay and at your leisure and still get all of the same benefits as if you're there live. So I hope that you will join us. I'm looking forward to this event as always. It's one of my favorite events, is the Lionsgate portal. It's very fun and exciting and incredibly transformational. So I look forward to having you with us, to join us and to participate. Again, it's at LoriSpagna.com. Under the live events tab, you will see the Speed Activations event where you can register and join us and get the recording to listen again and again at your leisure. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for taking these few moments to listen and to get this update and to hear more about what's going on, and also, of course, about the upcoming Lionsgate portal. I hope to see you live on August 8th in the Inner Circle, where you will participate and join with me there. And I will see you there for those of us who say yes. Yes to your own ascension. Yes to your own journey. Yes to your own awakening. Yes to your role as a light worker. Yes to your role as an Indigo Family Tribe member. Yes to awakening your own DNA. Yes to becoming a leader in this transformational time on Earth. Yes to the transformation going on for humanity and to this ascension. Okay, I love you so much. I will see you there. All my love. Okay, bye-bye for now.